Okay, so I just received in the mail my Harry's shaving kit. It's actually not the whole kit, it's just the handle and blades. I didn't need the shaving cream. But we're going to talk about the handle and blades. We're going to compare it to what I've always used, which is the Gillette line. Since I started shaving, I've been using this kind of stuff. We're now at the Fusion Power branded line with 5 blades on the main face plus the trim blade and the power part that we're all used to. So we're going to get into that, we're going to talk about it, we're going to see how they compare, what they look like, what could be some possible issues. We're going to have some up-close video and stills, and we're going to have an actual shave test, though admittedly my beard is a light one, so those of you with thick, coarse beards will probably not get much from it, but I will at least talk about the duration of the blades later on when I actually use these. For what it's worth, these from Gillette last me a month or longer, and I do shave every day, so that tells you a little something right there. But I do have a little bit of a tough beard that goes in all directions here, so I have to go 10 different ways and still doesn't work. So we'll see how these do with that kind of a difficult situation. With that being said, let's jump right into it, open up the box and see what we've got. Alright, so here we are. Here's a little box, Harry's. It did come with a label on here from FedEx and some other stickies on here. I took them off just because I don't want to advertise my address to the whole wide world. For what it's worth, let's grab the size. Looks like 8 1/4 roughly by 4 3/4 roughly by 1 1/2 roughly. Just for what it's worth, here is a Gillette shaver, so it's not a terribly big box. Comes handily taped like so. I'll just get that open. Alright, and let's see what we do. Okay, just a very simple cardboard interior. Nothing fancy about it. We have here what I'm guessing is the blades. So let's take these 2 items out and set the big box aside. Pretty nice packaging. I'd be proud to market such a thing. Let's set the blade handle aside for just a minute. Look at the blades themselves. Interesting little design here. Looks like a quality box. Let's see, how do we open this? Oh, it's got a little catch there. And there you have it. Directions. Let's see. Insert handle, slide right, don't run out, order more. Yep, thank you very much. So it looks like you stick the handle in and out it comes just like that. So there's what one looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the little strip. And flexy. Okay. We'll put that back. And we'll open up the razor now. Here it is. Same kind of a situation. Just inside lies a fine razor, handle, and blade. Use it well. Alright, thank you very much. Instructions how to get it out. Brilliant. Harry's. Alright, here we go. Slides right off, easy as can be. Well, this is kind of nice. A little bit of style there. That's red and blue alternating lines. Okay, works for me. Oh, that actually feels pretty nice. What does that look like compared with our Gillette one? Bigger in some areas, smaller in others. Quite a big difference on the shave head, it looks like. Well, let's take off this plastic guard and then see what we get. Yeah, we'll get into that in greater detail later. But obviously a little bit different right away. So, back to this. Feels good, it's cold. I like that, metal feels cold. It's nice. So what did this card say? So pinch the cartridge at its base. Oh, well, that was easy enough. Basically, you're just sliding up this little deal. Now, some people in the reviews I read complained that this popped off, like when you would set it in a holder in your bathroom. It might, but you'd have to be pretty violent with it. I don't think I'm going to be that violent with my razor. I do keep mine in the shower, so we'll see how it fares with rusting. Here is one of the views I promised. We're seeing up close and personal. Now on the Gillette one on the right, you can see through those blades. You can see right through there. On the Harry's one, I don't see through at all anywhere. There's a little glimpse of light coming through in the bottom right corner, and you can see that the blades appear to be much closer together. Now people have complained that this will easily clog. If you don't rinse it after every stroke, it will clog. And I would tend to believe them, though I have not tried it yet. Now, another thing you can kind of notice here is the distance between the tip of the razor, in this view that would be the top of your screen, and where the first blade begins comparatively is pretty close. They're pretty identical in that respect. I mean, it looks like there is a little difference, but nothing that's gonna go crazy on you. Also, the distance from the side to the blade, not a big deal there. Now these little rubber thingies here, I don't know what you call them, hair lifters, is that what those are called? They seem to be finer and more in number on Gillette than on Harry's, though admittedly I really don't know if that matters. This is kind of a hard comparison to pull off right here, but yeah, they're pretty close to the same in that regard. What we're looking at all around there, distances from sides and stuff. One thing to note here, it looks like the hair lifters are a little bit different angle between the two. It's really tough to see there, isn't it? But kind of looks like the Gillette one has easier approach right in this area here. So I mean, we really are, pardon the pun here, we are really splitting hairs when we're looking at these fine, minute details. Anybody that's that serious about shaving, they must be a facial hair model or something, because for the most of us, so what? This has been something people have talked about a little bit. This flexi bit here, where you actually bend it. Well, that's a bad view. Where it actually pivots, being that it's made out of this plastic right there, instead of having some sort of a spring mechanism. Now you see this little post right there and the one beneath? Those are kind of what inhibit the full bend. You see that? So you don't bend too far. It's still bending when I keep pushing it, but it looks like it's going to stop. Yeah, it stops right about there. It actually is still flexing, but that's going to prevent you just breaking the thing off, bending it over backwards. So you've got a lot of range of motion on that. So let's see, from there, resting position, let's bend it. How far can we go? Oops, try again. It's a little slippery. Oh, I did pop it through. Look at that. Trial by fire. So if you were shaving and that happened, what's going to happen? Popped it back in. Easy. No sweat. Alright, so back to the test. Alright, that's about as far as you're going to go. So is that, I'd say that's about 80 degrees, and I'm just guessing, and I'm not a studier of geometry, whatever you call that. Geometrist? Okay. Anyway, 70 degrees, it's not 90, that's for sure. Now, let's look at the Gillette one. Now this is kind of a moot point here, because it's not connected to the razor handle, which is what affects its bending, but here's its full range of motion. Looks like similar, or maybe even a little less. So now let's put it on the handle and see how it fares. By the way, this is a brand new blade, so everything we're seeing is brand new out of box. So it is much, much easier to flex and bend, and that is something I'm certain to miss just how fluid this is, but I could be wrong. Maybe the additional pressure from the strength of the spring on the other will be a benefit. While we're on the subject, let's just show this one how easy that one is to flex. It's a little tougher, but it's just going to town, no problem. Yeah, this is definitely much easier. Let's try a test. Here's the cardboard that came in the box. It can actually do it. I'll hold the same grip. Try this one. No, it's just bending the card right in half. So it is much firmer, much firmer. We'll see how that comes out in test results, if that's good or if that's bad. Okay, so we're back here. I kind of wanted to cover one more thing I didn't show you before. That's, if you look down inside, right in here, you can see kind of, this is the full width of the blade, there to there. And the Gillette is quite a bit different. Let's poke that in there. You can see this full size of the blade, but it's a lot narrower. You can see right through, as we noted before. And I wanted to show you that because look, even at this extreme angle, you can still see through there. That's going to allow hair to clear out of there so much easier. If we put the Harry's one at that exact same angle and show you, you can't see through at all. Now let's start rotating. There's just no seeing through there. It's just not gonna happen. So you won't even be able to really see when it's clogged up. Now I've never had that problem, so it's not a big deal, but a lot of people commented that it clogged on them, so I want to show you what's really at stake there. Now let's try something a little different. Let's just rake it across a finger. I can feel all the blades. It's nice and smooth. I'm going to run this edge part out across the finger. It's not too elevated. I can definitely feel it raising up, so let's show you how much that raises up. Is that a millimeter? Half a millimeter? Somewhere in that range? I don't know. Now let's compare that with the Gillette one. Looks similar. Let's give it a similar test. It is shallower. I would definitely say it's shallower. Not as much of a lift. So you may have reduced results with the Harry's versus the Gillette right at the edge of the blade. But that wouldn't really be a complaint from me. So what? You have to overlap your strokes anyway. How does this area compare? I didn't compare that. Okay, so here we've got, it recesses in pretty nice. On Harry's, it's kind of recesses quickly and then it's flat. So you may have a little less ease of use because of that. Yet to be seen. We'll find out shortly. There's what you get head on. No branding on the Harry's. Only the H on the handle. If you lose your heads, you'll never know what they're for. They don't have a big H on them. Gillette says Gillette all over it. Okay, let's do the blade exchange here. I kind of showed you that before, but let's do it again. So they say to pinch here and push. And I'm doing this with one hand. Do not have my other hand involved at all. Really simple. So that comes right off. And this part just free slides back and forth. Sounds kind of cheapo. This is metal. This part here is metal. And this is plastic. So the entire handle except this little slide is metal, which this is some sort of a harder plastic. It's not soft and flexible like this is here. So there's what you get there. Now when it's time to get a new one out of the box, may not be able to see this up close view, but just line it up if I can see. Stick it in, slide it out, easy peasy. In fact, see if I can stick it back in there in the same way. Yep, sure can. And one disappointment is this little cartridge carrier deal inside is all plastic. I don't know how well you can tell. Get a little shine on it, I guess, but this is all plastic in here. I'm pretty disappointed about that because the rest of it's paper, and I like to recycle, and paper can go right in the recycling bin. Plastic, I'm going to have to rip this thing apart, and what's the point anyway? You can't use it in the shower, so it might as well be paper. So, hey Harrys, if you see this video, make the carriers paper. We don't need plastic. We're trying to save money, not be fancy. Now, I didn't show you the Gillette. If you already know, you already know, but just for comparison's sake, you push the button, off it pops. I like to aim at the trash and see if I can hit it. Maybe that's the sportsman in me, who knows, but see if it'll pop off and fly right in the trash can. And then putting it back on, as you're all aware, it's pretty much the same as Harry's. Actually, this is more difficult than the Harry's one without the carrier. Anyway, so there you go. Off it pops. Now, what do these handles look like without the heads on them? They really look a lot alike. Let's see, get my light back. Boy, that's disgusting dirty. Sorry, everyone. But they're different shape, but it's a handle. What do you want? Let's just fly them by the camera here so you can see how they differ and how they compare. So there you have that. View from the other end. Obviously the Gillette one is a lot bigger. It has to accommodate the battery and the circuitry and whatever in there. Plus they're trying to give you a little something to hang on to. The Harry's, interestingly, tapers off at the end where you would expect they would give you something to grip by. Now maybe that's a style decision, form over function. I don't know. It does have this little groove here. Maybe that's so you're aware, hey, I'm at the end, or maybe give you some grip, or maybe it's all about style and nothing more. Whatever the case may be, that's how it is. So, yeah. A lot of people have commented that the plastic one is slippery. This metal one doesn't seem that slippery, so we'll see what happens when it's in the water. One other thing, up here on the neck of the razor here, the Gillette has these rubber ridges on the top, of the side, and the bottom. Tons of grip on this thing. You could use this for many other purposes with so much grip that it has. Not sure it's necessary, but it's there. This, on the other hand, has these little ridges here. That's it. The rest is smooth. Now, all the people that are used to using throwaway razors, the little Bics and whatever, they're all smooth plastic, and up until past few years they didn't have any grip on them at all. Now they put rubber on them, which seems like an enormous waste. But anyway, so we'll see how this tests out. Alright, so I'm going to be shaving with two razors, one Harry's, one Gillette, and I've already got my shaving gel on, which you cannot even see probably. I use this stuff called Remington King of Shaves Alpha Gel, and it's for sensitive skin. I've never found anything better than this that doesn't irritate my skin and just make me have a semi-rash all the time. So if you already use a premium shaving cream or gel, then never mind, but if you just use regular stuff, do find this. Unfortunately, I think you can only find it on places like Amazon now. But anyway, enough about that. So I'm going to start with the Gillette. because that's our benchmark, and just see how that goes. I'm going to shave the left side of my face, which we're in a mirror, so that's going to be confusing to you, but anyway, here we go. So, hot water, ready to go, and I do shave in reverse because my beard is difficult, and for those of you that don't understand that, whatever. But yeah, this is a brand new blade, and it's just going extremely well. So, there we go. Like a baby's bottom on one pass. So now here's an area that most people are concerned about because the Harry's doesn't have this trimmer, which I do use every time. We'll see how I feel about shaving without it these days. People got by without it for centuries. Okay, so there's that. Went pretty well. No pain, no discomfort of any kind. Everything's smooth and great, and we're done. That's a brand new blade. Now we're gonna hit it with Harry's and see how we go there. Here we go. Feels like a little more drag from possibly the hair lifter. Not sure, maybe the little strip there is different somehow. Definitely sounds different because it's not metal construction. I think I'm going to have to agree with the people that said it's not as sharp as a Gillette. Getting under the nose, I don't think you can see, but this little thing here is kind of getting in the way to go on the upstroke. Yeah, it's not quite as close as with the Gillette because I don't have that little extra trimmer deal. Now I've got a special situation on mine. I have this bump scar thing I've had my whole life, pretty much, and it gets cut off more often than I'd like to admit. So, you see there, we've got a little nick. But since I shave in the shower, I don't know if I usually nick or not. So let's see how we go over this bump thing. I did mention earlier that I use my Gillette blades as long as a month. That's just overkill because I'm a cheapskate and I don't like to waste money on things that seem unnecessary. But really, realistically, I could go probably once a week with a new blade, but it's so expensive. Now I'm noticing that the strip is finally doing something. This white strip is finally doing a little something. Seems like it's behind the times there. Not noticing any real issues. I think I'm taking about twice as long to get it done. And I think we're done. That's just one day of beard. I shaved yesterday morning and it's now the next morning, so we'll see how it goes. I'll be shaving with this thing for a month and probably make some updates to my video review. In the meantime, I'll post new videos, so until then. Okay, so that concludes our comparative review of the Harry's shave head and handle versus the also revered Gillette Fusion Power. I'm not too concerned about the different handles. They're both smooth and probably don't have a huge amount of difference when compared to the Gillette, so we're not even worried about that. But hope the shave test was helpful to you, and I hope all the information in this review will help you understand if you want to try Harry's or not for quite a big monetary savings. So with that said, we'll sign off. Good shaves.